A very good morning to all of you and welcome to the session, the Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. As usual, let us start with the snippets. The very first one, cough syrup. Cough syrup deaths, Tamil Nadu shuts down Swayson Pharma. Against this backdrop, already have read out a few times, cough syrup deaths. Some children in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, they died, and based on that, some investigation. And against that backdrop, cough syrup deaths, Tamil Nadu shuts down Swayson Pharma. Shut down means to close. Coming to the next one, Nobel for Economics. Mocker, Agion, and Howitt win the prize. Again, trio. So far, we have seen physics trio, chemistry trio, and economics also trio. Very important, not only from language proficiency point of view, but also current affairs point of view. And here you have award. You have to recollect words like confer, bestow. When it comes to a particular award, we use words like bestow and also confer. Confer a particular award. Coming to fresh impetus. Impetus means a force, the momentum, the stimulus, something that makes something else make something else happen. Impetus we have in the editorial also. India, Canada agreed to restart trade talks. Restart, we can also use the word resume. Resume has two different meanings. I'm sure youngsters, you know the first one, all about you in brief. But here, resume means to restart. Better word would have been a resume. India, Canada agreed to restart trade talks. Coming to sustainable development, very important. You may get as a passage or close or para jumble. Here, sustainable development. The moment you see the word sustainable development, sustain means what? Maintain. But sustainable goals, sustainable practices, using the resources wisely, thinking of the future generations, and accelerating green transition of railways. Accelerate to speed up, to expedite transition, change. Accelerating green transition of railways and decarbonization plan can become benchmark. Very important article you have to read. Anything related to environment you have to read. I think the other day IBPS PO also they gave a passage, essay, right about related to biodiversity. Anything related to environment you have to read and you have to develop vocabulary, contextual awareness, effective English that go with environment related topic. Any dimension. Here decarbonization plan can become benchmark. Benchmark means what? Standard. Benchmark, hallmark, all these words you have to recollect. Domination continues. India on the cusp of a series sweep, on the cusp of, on the edge of winning the series. Series sweep. Sweep means out of three, all the three won by a particular team. Then we use the word sweep. Very important. Sweep has many meanings. Coming to the main headline from today's The Hindu paper, let us see what is there. Here we have Gaza declaration inked as Hamas sets hostages free. Inked means written in this context. Rock solid performance. Okay, that's very good. And coming to Gaza declaration inked as Hamas sets hostages free. You know about Trump, leaders of Egypt, Qatar, and Turkey a signed document meant to cement the peace plan. And it goes with armistice, peace, ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Against that backdrop, hostages have been released. So many words you can recollect based on that. Coming to the other headline, retail inflation hits 8-year low of 1.54% in September. It is related to economy, important. You have to read the article. Coming to this one, all 5 accused in West Bengal gang rape case nabbed. Nab in this context means to get caught, catch someone, the thieves, the criminals. The police catch the thieves or criminals. We use the word nabbed, an important word. And all the 5 accused in. When you see words like accuse, accusation, allegation, all these words you have to recollect related to crime. Birth registration declines, deaths increase, report. Birth registration declines. Decline we have got many a time. To go down in numbers, declining standards, declining quality. Here, birth rate going down and death rates increase. So that is a bit surprising. It should be the other way. Birth rates declining. Okay, that is acceptable. But death rate should not increase. Then it is not good. Something bad, not acceptable. Coming to the next one, PF pension hike under cabinet review. Minister. Here, hike means what? Hike means increase, sudden increase, you can say. Increase. Diminishing also, you have to recollect. Good, Chandani. Low decline, mitigate, reduce. Yes, Vishnu. Good. Coming to the next one, Pak troops on high alert after border clashes. This has been going on for some time. Pakistan border, they have a problem based on that. Coming to the last headline, SC orders CBI investigation into stampede that left 41 people dead in Karur. You can see the pics. And it goes with stampede. You all know the meaning of the word stampede. Whenever there is only one outlet, thousands of people, they try to go out of that outlet because of panic. It results in a chaotic situation. Some people fall, others step on them. That results in suffocation. A lot of people die. That is known as stampede. Sometimes what happens, surge of people, means sudden forward movement of people. That also results in stampede. And already we have got many a time this one. Now let us go to today's editorial. Today's editorial is all about a particular project. So many important words are there. It is not the regular pattern, but I will read out, I will do value addition, enrichment towards English proficiency. Vamsi, something has popped up. Please delete that one. I'm not able to see the comments. Please excuse me. Delete. What is this about? Testing governance. You all know the word governance, governing, governance, related, administration, and testing governance. National security and ecological responsibility reinforce each other. There are two dimensions here. One is national security, the other one, ecological responsibility. National security, ecological responsibility reinforce each other. Reinforce means to strengthen. Two things strengthen each other. One is national security, the other one, ecological responsibility. Being ecologically responsible means thinking of sustainable practices and each other, a reciprocal pronoun. We have two reciprocal pronouns, each other and one another. When we talk about two persons or two things, we use each other, more than two, one another. Very good, aspirant. Administrator, administratrix, you have to recollect. Masculine gender, feminine gender. Administrator, administratrix. Very important. What is this about in a nutshell? This is about a particular hydroelectric project. And editorial takes a stand and says it is not good at this juncture constructing for two reasons. One, there is a violation according to the editorial. I would like to reiterate nothing is personal here. Based on what the editorial says, I try to interpret, I try to do value addition. Editorial takes a stand on two issues. One, constructing the dam is in a way violation of international treaties on behalf of on the part of India. Second one, it is not a sustainable thing. It may make a negative impact. Entire editorial talks about these two aspects. Fresh impetus. I told you, front page we got this word. Even here we have this word. Impetus means what? Push, force, momentum, stimulus. And here, fresh impetus for the Savalkot Hydroelectric project, planned as a 1.8 gigawatt scheme on the Chenab, coincides with India's unilateral suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty after the Pahalgam attack, giving it a geopolitical symbolism that risks overshadowing questions relating to environmental impact. A very lengthy sentence. Whenever you come across lengthy sentences, you have to read twice, thrice. At the outset, you may not understand. Then you have to read twice, thrice, then you will be able to. And today, if you take bank exams, quite often they give lengthy sentences. And for a typical candidate, not easy to deal with lengthy sentences. First, you have to know what the subject is, what the verb is, what the object is, and what are the phrases and clauses that go with the subject, all the phrases and clauses that go with the object. You have to read meticulously. Fresh impetus for a particular project, fresh push for a particular project. What is the project? A particular hydroelectric project, Savalkot hydroelectric project, planned as what? As a 1.8 gigawatt scheme where on the Chenab coincides with something. Coincides with what? India's unilateral suspension. Unilateral means one sided, without any discussion, without any negotiation, without any dialogue. Someone takes a decision, then we say unilateral, bilateral, unilateral, multilateral. Unilateral suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty. As I said, today's editorial touches two dimensions. One, violation of treaties, the second one, sustainable practices. Here it talks about this particular project launching or giving the impetus to the project coincides with India's unilateral suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty after the Pahalgam attack. After the Pahalgam attack, when Pakistan terrorists, not the country, but terrorists, they attacked Pahalgam attack. After that, India suspended the treaty. India's unilateral suspension of the Indus Waters Treaty after the Pahalgam attack. Because of that, what happened? Now, giving the impetus to a particular hydroelectric project after this Pahalgam attack gives it a geopolitical dimension. Excuse me. Gives it a geopolitical symbolism. Geopolitical symbolism. Geopolitical, it is like in a way related to strategic studies. Coming to geopolitical symbolism that risks overshadowing questions relating to the environmental impact. It may give geopolitical dimension. In that process, what happens? It may overshadow the environmental impact, which is very dangerous. And environmental impact is very important. One has to think twice before going ahead with a particular project. It talks about that. The second dimension. The Union Ministries of Power and Home Affairs have repeatedly stressed its strategic value. I've told many a time, geopolitical, strategic, related. Strategic means related to defense. Here it goes more with defense value. Based on that, the Union Home Ministries of Power and Home Affairs have repeatedly stressed present perfect active voice, its strategic value to press for exemption from the impact and carrying capacity studies. Its strategic value, because of the strategic value, the two ministries have pressed for exemptions. Press for means urge for, demand for. That is one word with many meanings. The two ministries, the Union Ministries of Power and Home Affairs, have repeatedly stressed its strategic value to press for exemptions from impact and carrying capacity studies. These two ministries wanted exemption from when it comes to two dimensions. One is the impact of that project and also the carrying capacity of that project. They wanted exemptions. But other factors cannot be wished away with a magic wand. Other factors cannot be wished away with a magic wand. Wand means a long stick or a rod. Here, magic wand means something with powers. The writer says other factors cannot be wished away. Cannot be wished away, it is in passive voice. We cannot wish away active voice. Something cannot be wished away passive voice. You should recollect the word Ganga. Very good. Impunity, exemption. With a magic wand, with a magic stick. The Chenab already host the Dulhasti, Bagrihar, and Salal projects in a bumper to bumper hydro power corridor. This is a new expression I've come across for the first time. Usually, this goes with vehicles. When vehicles are close to, two vehicles are close to each other, heavy traffic, that time we use bumper to bumper traffic. Means very close without any gap, much gap. But here we have, it goes with hydroelectric projects in a particular region. All these projects in a bumper to bumper hydropower corridor means very close to one another. Ignoring cumulative impact. Cumulative means what? Total impact after getting accumulated, getting added up, finally, cumulative, total, considering all the factors. Ignoring cumulative impact here means underestimating compounded sediment loads. Compounded, it has many meanings. One of the meanings to make the situation from bad to worse, and we use the word exacerbate. Exacerbate means what? Already the situation is bad, someone tries to make it worse. You should also recollect the word aggravate. Here, ignoring cumulative impact here means underestimating compounded sediment loads and slope instability. Compounded, it also means something like adding up. Sediment load, that becomes a problem. And also slope instability. The slopes are not stable, then it results in landslides. Very simple. The gravity dam proposed at Sawalkot, despite being described as a runoff river, will form a reservoir of over 50,000 crore liters, rendering it functionally closer to a storage dam. They may say it is a runoff river. The gravity dam proposed, what is a claim? It is a runoff kind of a thing. The gravity dam proposed at Sawalkot, despite a contrasting word, despite being described as what? A runoff river. A runoff river in the sense water doesn't get stagnated, doesn't get stored. Water keeps moving. But on the contrary, the writer says, despite being described as a runoff river, will form a reservoir. It is going to have water, will form a reservoir of over 50,000 crore liters. Then what happens? Rendering it. Render means to make something. Rendering it, making it functionally closer to a storage dam. Once it stores water, it becomes a storage dam, obviously, and that may result in some negative impact. Storage dam. Its estimated cost has risen by rose, risen. Here it is intransitive verb, irregular verb. What is the other one you have to recollect? Raise, raised, raised. Transitive and regular. Has risen by present perfect active voice. 9,000 crore due to inflation, one reason. That means the initial budget has gone up to 9,000 crore. What are the reasons behind? Due to inflation and prolonged administrative uncertainty. Prolonged, extended. Administrative instability, uncertainty. And here, when it comes to administrative blocks or official hurdles, there is one important idiom. What is that? Red tapeism. You have to recollect red tapeism or red tape. Bureaucratic hurdles. Administrative uncertainty. The NHPC Limited's recent record in comparable Himalayan projects shows many schedule slippages and cost overruns. This sentence talks about the projects, how are they being handled by the government. some problems are there. The two problems that have been highlighted: one, schedule slippages, means there's a particular schedule, they don't stick to the schedule, then we use the expression schedule slippage. And the other one, cost overruns. Initially they say something, but slowly the cost goes up, overruns. Finally, rehabilitation costs account for just 0.6% of total expenditure, whereas nearly 1,500 families will have to be resettled and 847 hectares of forest will have to be diverted. What is the impact of this particular project? One thing, the costs have gone up because of various reasons. Second, the different dimensions are there. And when it comes to any project in a forest area or hilly region, it results in displacement. Means people over there have to be evacuated or shifted to some other place. They have to be rehabilitated. They have to be compensated. The sentence talks about what percentage. Finally, rehabilitation costs account for just 0.6% of total expenditure, whereas how many people have to be rehabilitated? 1,500 families will have to be resettled. Will have to be an important pattern you have to know. I have told many a time, have to, has to, helping verb. What is a function? Function, it is used to express an obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. Then you may ask, sir, what is this pattern? Will have to. It talks about the future. In future, the same function, obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. Will have to be. It is in passive voice. Will have to resettle. Government has to resettle. Government will have to resettle the families. The families will have to be resettled by the government. It is in passive voice. And 847 hectares, besides people, forest land, 847 hectares of forest will have to be diverted. Same pattern, passive voice, will have to be diverted. Coming to the second part, in strategic terms, coming to all that talks about the environmental impact. Now, the second dimension, geopolitical strategy. Regarding that, what are the implications? In strategic terms, the project's timing signals India's intent or intention to operationalize its entitlement over Western rivers following the IWT suspension. Because of the suspension of Indus Water Treaty, India has got some sort of power. What is it? Control over Western rivers. Based on that, it is trying to do something, according to the editorial. In strategic terms, the project's timing signals India's intent to operationalize its entitlement. Usually it goes with power, privileges, rights, entitlement to something over Western rivers following the IWT suspension. Keeping the treaty in abeyance, an important word. In abeyance means what? In suspension. Keeping the treaty in suspension. Keeping the treaty in suspension also removed procedural constraints. Constraint means limitation. While writing, imagine I'm using a tab. I cannot write a lot of sentences. Then I say, I have space constraint. Okay, that's good analysis. Who is this? Dheeraj Kumar. I appreciate that. Also removed procedural constraints, allowing projects such as Salwakot, Sawalkot and the Ular barrage to go ahead. Because of these removed, they have been, because of keeping the treaty in abeyance and because of removing procedural constraints, they have got some power. What is it? To go ahead with the projects, the two projects, allowing projects such as Sawalkot and the Ular barrage to go ahead. Go ahead means to proceed. However, contrasting word, what is the impact of this? However, this approach risks diminishing India's credibility. Diminish, already someone has used. Declining, diminishing, deteriorating, taking down the numbers, quality, standards. Here, credibility. What is the meaning of the word credible? believable, credibility of someone or something. That means they can be trusted, believability. Here it diminishes India's credibility as a riparian, an important word we have got for the first time. How do you pronounce that? Riparian means a place along the banks of a river. Along the banks of a river, we use this. Riparian state that abides by treaties. Abide by, another important word, means what? To follow, to adhere to stick to, comply with. Comply with what? Treaties, particularly in fora. Fora means plural of forum, another important word. As I said, today's editorial, there's so much to learn. Language proficiency point of view. Forum singular, fora plural, where it advocates. Advocate as a noun, lawyer, attorney. And here advocate means what? Support. It advocates what? A rule-based transboundary governance. India India is always with rules and regulations, and especially when it comes to transboundary, advocates rule-based transboundary governance. Pakistan has already challenged the suspension's legality vis-a-vis. How do you pronounce this? Vis-a-vis. Second, here S is silent. That you have to know. An important expression you have to focus on. Pakistan, how has Pakistan responded? Unilateral suspension of IWT's Indus Water Treaty. What is the reaction of Pakistan? Pakistan has already challenged, again, present perfect active voice, the suspension's legality. To what extent it is legally acceptable, Pakistan has challenged vis-a-vis the 1960 framework. Based on, against the framework, 1960 framework, what is its legality that has been challenged by Pakistan? Should India proceed? Should India proceed with multiple large projects without cooperative mechanisms? Future negotiations may potentially invite third-party scrutiny. Should India proceed with multiple large projects without cooperative mechanisms? That means in case India proceeds with, should India proceed, here it means in case India proceeds with all these projects, it is going to face some consequences. Should India proceed with multiple large projects without cooperative mechanisms, future negotiations may potentially invite third-party scrutiny. Then what happens? Third-party scrutiny will come into picture, scrutinize to examine thoroughly. Then India will not have a stand. Precisely what New Delhi has long resisted. New Delhi never wanted third-party scrutiny. That is not good for the country. But doing all these things in the opinion of the editorial, it is going to invite third-party scrutiny, and India has resisted third-party scrutiny for quite some time. In any case, strategic assertion should come with ecological restraint. Main idea is being reiterated. Strategic assertion, assertive means what? Firm and firm, strong. Strategic assertion should come used to advise or suggest one function, possibility less chances another function. Here advice or suggestion should come with ecological restraint. We have got the word restrain many a time. Restrain from, refrain from. What do they mean? Hold back, keep away from something. Ecological restraint means they should not construct dams in sensitive regions, fragile ecosystem, then they should not go ahead with the project, and would require regional studies and protocols to manage sediments for all future projects. They have to do some sort of groundwork, regional studies and protocols to manage sediments for all future projects. Protocols means what? Official procedures. When the Prime Minister visits a particular state, the CM of that particular state has to receive the Prime Minister. That is called a protocol, official procedure. And this is like doing the homework before going ahead. Come with ecological restraint and would require regional studies and protocols to manage sediments for all future projects, regardless of treaty status. Irrespective of their treaty status, they have to do these things. India should also, again, opinion advice from the editorial, India should also institutionalize data transparency. Data transparency, another important expression you have to remember and use when you write essays, through regional or multilateral platforms. Excuse me. I got choked because of dust. Here, India should also institutionalize data transparency through how regional or multilateral platforms, converting hydrological monitoring from a security risk into a confidence building measure, which would also align strategic autonomy with stewardship. All these, this sentence, the one before, they talk about the opinion of the editorial, what India has to do. In this context, what India has to do. India has to do something like go ahead with data transparency. India should also institutionalize data transparency through regional or multilateral platforms, one thing. Converting hydrological monitoring from a security risk into a confidence building measure. Should not look at it from a particular with a particular view. India has to change the view. Should look at it from confidence building as a confidence building measure, which would also align strategic autonomy with stewardship. Strategic autonomy, that is one expression you have to remember, with stewardship, an important word, means taking control of something. In a particular situation, you control. Then we use the word stewardship, an important word. Savalkot's legacy, you all know legacy, something that comes down generations, will ultimately depend on whether India realizes that national security and ecological responsibility reinforce each other. Same idea is being reiterated. Savalkot's legacy will ultimately depend on the project's future, depends on something, depends on what? Whether India realizes that national security and ecological responsibility reinforce each other, strengthen each other. Both the things have to be considered. One is national security, the other one, ecological responsibility. That is going to support each other. Very good. That's all for today. An important editorial you have to read, and there's so much to learn based on this editorial. So many words and so many patterns. Try to read twice or thrice, develop contextual awareness, vocabulary, and effective English. That will help in the long run. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.